לפניך מאוד אני 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 לפניך מאוד אני
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to KZOOM. So happy to see you, to be together. Last week, I found it really kind of like, I was so grateful to have this group to be with last week and to kind of shift the energy. For me, it really helped through a difficult passage and coming out kind of the other side and now kind of looking at what is the spiritual challenge that we face now. What came to me was that we are kind of all being deputized to become this vehicle through which the divine flow can flow into this world, and that this vehicle that we are, both inside ourselves and together between us, really needs attention, spiritual practice, kind of looking for its strength and integrity and intention, so that flow can really come into the world, and it feels as if it's being invited through us. So I wanted to begin. Well, let's first, as we form this container, let's just take a look around the Zoom room and connect ourselves to the souls that are here, and so that we can create a kind of a field here to do this spiritual work together.
Hey. Oh, so good to see everybody.
Yeah. It's like a family. We're family.
Yeah, we're
It's
family
like
now.
family. So this week from the Love at the Center work comes a practice that is that says "L'susati berikvei faro demitichrayati," and it's kind of like this very powerful, shocking image that the lovers say to each other. And what I say in my commentary about it is I say that considering the fact that Shir HaShirim, the Song of Songs, is often in our tradition considered a midrash on the story of Exodus, it was a little bit of a shocking image to see this mare among Pharaoh's chariots, because I thought, oh, that belongs to our oppressor. Uh, that's the place of enslavement. And yet, that mare just has, when I tune into her, she just has this quality that is kind of wild, and untamable. And as I was, sometimes as a chanter, what we do is we put these words inside us in order to understand what they mean and what their function is. And when I sang these words, I felt the strength of that mare within me, and a kind of a nobility and power and grace that I wanted to cultivate as my own physical presence. And the Song of Songs is so much about, it's about love, but it's really about embodied love. It's like, how do we take this love into our bodies? And how can our bodies can be the vehicle through which the divine flow can happen? what is this? I'm getting all, okay. Yeah. Yeah, she's not. Oh, yeah. Betsy says she's not. Doesn't say that she's pulling the chariots, but she's there, right? And she is radiant, and she is us. And so we want to, I said we want to affirm the holy animal that we are, to honor that power and beauty. And I was telling somebody this story yesterday. Was that a couple years ago, I was really kind of sick and I had this cough and it wasn't going away, and I thought maybe this was the end.
It's true.
It's true. I thought, well, maybe I'm done. Maybe I'm done. I wasn't getting better. I thought I would just keep getting sick and sick, and then I'd be done. And so so I kind of said to my guides, well, maybe I've done my work. Maybe this is it. And my master guide Eliyahu came to me and he said, "You're not done." So, and he said, "There will be a whole new piece of work being given to you, and you better get ready for it. You better get ready. You better get strong." And his message really kind of woke me up, and it woke me up to some kind of responsibility that I have inside my body to find the strength of my body, and it's really just now that piece of work, which I think is Love at the Center, has come to me, and I've been getting ready for it all this time. So this idea of embodiment, I was looking back at a book that I loved a while ago called The Path with Heart by Jack Kornfield, and in it he talks about embodiment. He says, "You may have heard of out-of-body experiences, full of lights and visions, a true spiritual path demands something more challenging, what could be called in the body experience. We must connect with our body, to our feelings, to our life just now if we are to awaken. I'll just say that last sentence again. We must connect with our body, to our feelings, to our life just now if we are to awaken. And so it is kind of a key. And I want to always kind of return to my body to allow my body to speak, because that's where the feelings are kind of, they're locked up in my body. And if I'm not listening, they'll stay locked up and cause me trouble down the line. But if I'm listening, those feelings unlock, and my body becomes articulate. And that's, I think, what we want. Oh boy, somebody's trying to call me. So let's try this practice, and I want to ask you to just to feel your body and connect with your breath. And we will open up first that conversation, the affirmation of this vehicle for the divine flow.
Susati Verifei Faro Dimiti Variety Susati Verifei Faro Dimiti Variety Le susati verifei faro dimiti krayati Le susati verifei faro dimiti krayati Susati Verifei Varo Dimiti Krayati Susati Verifei Varo Dimiti Krayati Le susati verifei faro dimiti krayati Le susati verifei faro dimiti krayati Susati Verifei Varo Dimiti Grayati Susati Verifei Varo Dimiti Krayati Le susati Verifei Faro Dimiti Krayati Le susati Verifei Faro Dimiti Krayati Le susati Verifei Faro Dimiti Krayati susati berikvei faro dimiti rayati 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 susati berikvei faro dimiti rayati.
Close your eyes and just feel your body as you breathe. Let yourself be filled up with that divine spirit that wants to move through you. Your body is this amazing channel, this vehicle, like a musical instrument that is tuned just right. But needs tuning every day.
Yeah, it does.
So that we can be that vehicle for all of the flows. So as we really step into a kind of a soul purpose to be useful as a channel for that divine flow into the world, and to allow our own life to become a divine expression, really, because that's where God is. God is expressing God's self through us, and so we want to just be awake to that, be conscious of it, be doing it kind of on purpose instead of accidentally.
Right. Yes.
So as we do that, what we're working with is not only the state of the body, but what I call a state of consciousness, a quality of presence, really. And what I've noticed is that I can sometimes touch, extraordinary states of consciousness, and they come and go. And what we're trying to do with our practice is something that was described to me by Rick Hansen in a book called Hardwired for Happiness. He asks the question, how do we transform passing mental states into lasting neural traits? So he's a neuroscientist, so that's how he talks. And there's a spiritual language to talk about that too, that there is something called states and stages. And so we're moving our being from being able to just have a certain state that comes and goes to really changing our wiring, to being to having a sort of continuity or consistency in how we bring that divine spirit through. And so that's what takes practice. And according to Rick Hansen, is that when we're in that state, when we bring attention to it, focus to it, intensity to it, that we actually are changing the wiring in our brain, so that we can live there really, and not just be occasional visitors to that extraordinary state of presence. So I wanted to choose the next practice, which is called sitting in the secret of the highest, is really about that relationship between state and stage. And it says, Yoshe Besete Elyon. It's like here's a description of our practice. We sit and touch that secret of the highest. It's like, oh, there it is. Yoshe Besete Elyon. And when we do that, and on some consistent basis, and we bring intention, awareness, intensity to it, then what will happen is, Batseil Shaddai Itlonan, we'll get to live there. We'll get to abide. And the way that place of presence is called is in the shadow, in the shade of Shaddai. And Shaddai is a name of God that kind of calls forth the ancient breasted one, Shaddaiim, which to me it just represents that place of nourishment and safety. And when we're in that place of nourishment, of plugged into nourishment and safety, then we are fully present, and the divine spirit can flow through us. And what it takes is just coming back again and again to that Yoshev, to that Sete Elyon, that high secret place within us, and knowing that passing state will become a lasting neural trait. And also there's something about doing practice together, is that we magnify that in each other through our connection and through our witness of each other. So let's try this, and to see if that taste of the secret of the highest can open a door to the place we want to live, to the place that I call presence.
Besete Elyon, Betzel Shaddai Itlonan, Yoshe Besete Elyon, El Shaddai Itlona Yoshe B'Seiter Elyon B'Tzel 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 Shaddai Itlona Yoshev B'Seiter Elyon Be'etzem Shaddai Tlona Yoshev B'Seiter Elyon Be'etzem Shaddai Tlona.
If you would imagine a door opening at the end of the chant, and with the power of that state, being able to walk through into a place of abiding presence, abiding generosity that is sourced in the divine. Just imagine walking through that door. So part of knowing what to look for is turning away from what's not working, what doesn't bring us, deeper. And I wanted to read you just this paragraph from a book that I love that's called, it's called Learning to Dance Inside by George Fowler. He says, the spiritual path, spirituality means that we pursue an understanding of the nature of reality, our own and God's, and that we then try to channel our thoughts, feelings, and actions accordingly. So according to what we discover in our practice of the nature of reality, that's how we want to live. As understanding grows, we are enticed to close down our outer and especially our inner franticness long enough to become aware of what we now understand to be our essential life. We want to grasp and experience who we actually are. As this begins to happen, we gain an astonishing sense of security and happiness for which every human being longs. We realize that what we have been seeking is already and necessarily with us as the being of us. Our fulfillment, our bliss is already here, the essential component of our nature. We've always been in full possession of it. We only need to learn what to look for, where to look for it, and how to open it. And where to quit looking. Yeah. So it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's in us, but sometimes we look to the wrong place. So this, I think that some of the spiritual reading that I like to do is reading that kind of puts me at ease, in a sense, saying like, oh yeah, you already have it. You don't have to go. And in the words of Torah that says it's not over the ocean somewhere far away. It's so close. It is in your mouth, in your heart, so that you can do it. It's what the book of Deuteronomy says. So, so George Fowler says, but we also have to open to. We have to open to it, even though it's in us. We still have to open to it, because what closes us down is a kind of franticness inside us, and we need to calm that down so that we can open. And so I wanted to do this practice I call opening to ease and flow, um, so that the spiritual path that we're on and this path of service and of love that we're on doesn't have to be a struggle. It, I've always learned from Rachmil, who says, sometimes I say, oh, I've been working really hard.
He said, wouldn't you rather work easy?
Don't work hard, work
easy.
And I realized some of that, really hard work, was part of my identity as a hard worker. But I could relax. And get the same thing done.
Yeah.
How come you're so good? You're so good at that.
Well, I've been around almost 70 years. Next week I'll be 70.
So I want to chant this as a way of opening, and the practice, really for me comes to me in these steps of that I need to, I need to relax first, and when I relax, I can open, and when I open, I can receive. And when I receive, then it's like I can allow that flow through me, because I know there's more where that comes from, so I can just let it go, and let it also be, I think of our hearts as being of taking energy in and refining it and transforming it and then putting it out, and each of us has that capacity. So these words that come from Psalm 145 are words that are very important. In the Ashrei prayer, they're very important. In fact, when I first learned the Ashrei prayer out of the Art Scroll Siddur, there was a little asterisk that said, when you say these words, really concentrate. And I was like wondering, well, what do you do the rest of the prayer? But no. This is the line that is the most important line, because it's talking about it. It's affirming that flow, and the flow that will bring exactly what is needed through us into the world. So let's be first relax, and then open. And allow with ease and flow. פותח את ידיך,
פותח את ידיך, פותח את ידיך, ומשביע לכל חי רצון, ומשביע לכל חי רצון, פותח את ידיך, ומשביע לכל חי רצון, פותח את ידיך, ומשביע לכל חי רצון, פותח את ידיך, פותח את ידיך, פותח את ידיך, ומשביע לכל חי רצון, ומשביע לכל חי רצון, פותח את ידיך, ומשביע לכל חי רצון, פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חי רצון. פותח את ידיך, פותח את ידיך, פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חי רצון, ומשביע לכל חי רצון. פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חי רצון. פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חי רצון. פותח את ידיך, פותח את ידיך, פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חי רצון, ומשביע לכל חי רצון. פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חי רצון. פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חי רצון. פותח את ידיך, פותח את ידיך, פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חי רצון, ומשביע לכל חי רצון. פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חי רצון. פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חי רצון.
Once more.
פותח את ידיך, פותח את ידיך, פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חי רצון, ומשביע לכל חי רצון. פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חי רצון. פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חי רצון.
I want to invite everybody to put your hands up close to the camera here in the screen so we see all of these hands. All of these, the hands of God.
Mm-hmm.
And feel the energy in your hands just kind of pouring through, connecting your heart to your hands and letting that energy pour through and just knowing the power of those hands to do what needs to be done.
Amen.
So we want to use our practice to wake up, to awaken to the blessing, the miracle, the flow. We want to, do that awakening. And then it feels just natural that when we wake up, that we use the power of our presence to awaken others and awaken what I think of as the Shekhinah, the divine presence that is sometimes kind of buried, and that my faith is that the power of our presence has an effect on the world, that being itself, even when I don't know what to do, but I do know what to be. And that being actually ripples out into the world, that it has an impact, and maybe at some point it'll help me know what to do when doing is necessary. So I want to do as our last practice, a practice that I think of as the our intention to awaken the divine presence in each other, in the world, in everyone, and really kind of faith in that practice. And these words come out of the book of Bamidbar, a difficult time on the journey, which might be kind of like the journey that we're on
Now.
right? A difficult time on the journey, and the ancestors were told to go into the wilderness and to find this well, that and that it wasn't going to give us water, it wasn't going to give us nourishment and truth until we could find the right song to sing to that well. And we were given these words, Ali ve'er, Anula, so which means rise up, O well. And this text occurs during the journey, shortly after the prophet Miriam dies, and the text says, after she dies, we are thirsty, we are disconnected from that deep well that she knew how to access, and we need to find it ourselves. So we step into the wilderness, we find that well, and we find the melody, and we find the hopefulness and the power to call forth that wisdom, nourishment, kind of Shekhinah energy. We say Anula, chant her up, chant her up, chant up the goodness, chant up the love into this world. So I thought we would do that as our final practice of this evening. And if we were together, we would be dancing this. If you know the dance, you can do the dance. But if you wanted, those hands that you just awakened, imagine taking those hands and gesturing towards the source of everything that is hidden, and calling it forth.
Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula.
So let's just pause for one moment, open your eyes, and we'll look around the Zoom room, and each of us has this well inside us that is waiting to be sung, chanted up. So as we chant, see if you can see this, this great divine presence that is in each of us. And we're going to chant up the well that is between us here.
Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula, Liebe Enula, Enula,
feel the sort of bubbling up of all of those, that place of source that's deep inside your heart. It's being called forth by each other, by this world, by the moment that we live in now, that is calling us to awaken and become whatever vehicle we can be of presence, of love, of goodness. Not knowing what kind of form that's going to take, but just feeling like, oh, I can stand up, I can show up, I can be available to that divine flow. And just notice what bubbles up, what the power of these practices has been for you tonight, even what questions arise for you. And we, in a few minutes, we'll take 10 minutes to get to know each other a little bit, respond to this together time. I want to thank you again to continue sending donations through the website and signing up for my retreat in February. A couple people have started signing up for that, and for the Shabbaton that I'm doing in Albuquerque, and you know, it's just kind of an amazing time of richness, possibility, and to do the inner work. So I am grateful to have this community, and
So those of you that can stay, that'd be great. Those of you that can't, we'll see you next week. We love you.